I grew up enjoying the X Division, admiring the X Division. It's what drew me to TNA wrestling. I've seen people like Chris Bay and Kiera Hogan say stuff like this as well. Was that like a motivating factor for you? Were you looking at guys like Frankie Kazarian and saying, I want to do that one day?
Absolutely. I think if you're of a certain age, which is, the age around which a lot of wrestlers start to become real successful, then when you started watching wrestling, there were very, very limited options for what
Yeah.
you could watch. And if you only kind of watch what's the most available, and then eventually you go right from that, from very old school slow punch based wrestling to the X Division stuff that is action packed and high flying and super captivating and interesting, and you go, wow, this is really different and absolutely mind blowing, which was 100% the experience for me. Stumbling upon that early X Division stuff really made me see wrestling in a different way, in a way that, having done some martial arts, I could 1000% relate to a lot more and was a lot more interested in.
And I wanted to ask you about your martial arts background. Like, what style did you get started in?
Taekwondo.
Makes
So I
sense.
started training Taekwondo at a coincidentally named school, with which I've been training. I mean, I've trained elsewhere, but I always went back to that school, conveniently named Impact Taekwondo.
Ah, nice. Do you remember a specific thing that like drew you to training taekwondo or anything like that? Like, or a specific thing that maybe molded your offense? Like, people always point out the kicks and things like that. I remember seeing an Edson Barboza kick in the UFC, and I was like, I want to train that kick every day,
Mm-hmm.
every day. Like, there are those motivating factors, and with stuff like what you do, there's movies, there's combat sports, there's wrestling. There are so many different places that influence can come from.
So yes and no. I didn't choose Taekwondo. And I think that's an important thing for people to know. Like, a question I get a lot is, "Oh, what martial arts should I do?" And the reason I started Taekwondo is because the school was close to my house.
Yes.
So it was it was easy for me to walk down there and do the class and come home. And I think, like, the number one predicting factor as to whether someone will stick with a martial art and make it the black belt is how close the school is to their house. So I mean, I ever since I was a very, very small boy, I had it in my mind that I wanted to become a pro wrestler. So when I started Taekwondo, the honestly a big part of me was like, oh, when I do start pro wrestling, this is going to work out great.
Yes.
And it absolutely did. But I think I would have fallen in love with any other martial art that had a fun, positive environment, as this school did.